Hey, it's Bill Gross, the LAProbateExpert.com. And today we have a chance to talk about what happens if you want to buy a property, but your credit just isn't really ready to buy a property to qualify. Do you take hard money loans? Do you take bad terms? Or can you, with a service, use a service to improve your credit score to qualify and save money on the purchase side? I've been in this business since 1986. I started as a lender and have worked with credit repair companies, good and bad, to help customers get better outcomes. And I came across Ronan and Charlotte today to talk about credit repair. So hopefully we can help you find a better opportunity for you for financing as you look to buy a property. So Charlotte and Ronan, say hi.
Hi.
Hello.
Hi,
So I'm not sure, I don't normally do two-on-ones. I usually do one-on-one. But tell me about you guys and how you, this should be a little personal background, where you guys grew up and how did you get into the credit repair business?
Well, I worked on Wall Street for 20 years, which is not necessarily relevant to credit repair, quite frankly. My credit was fine. And one day I walked away from Wall Street. I just was like, I think it's time to go. And I then spent time looking for my next thing. I got involved with real estate, basically. And I was like, let's invest in real estate. And then I started doing real estate seminars. And I actually did a real estate seminar with a gentleman called Lou Brown. I don't know if you know him. And he has this big national seminar program. And he started talking about credit repair and the company that ultimately I work for, and how he used credit repair to help people get into houses, to be able to get into their dream house, to fix their credit, and to up-level themselves financially. So I looked at the opportunity. I thought it was really good. It was a great way to help people, on a much broader level than just Wall Street. I shared it with Ronan, my partner, and he needed some work on his credit score. His score went from 550 to 750. Oh. And we dove in. I mean, Ronan, you can tell your story.
I originally am from Israel, and I've been in this country since 2001, kind of back and forth. My dad was in real estate, and I've always wanted to get into real estate. And like Charlotte said, we basically were in the Lou Brown seminar, and we found out that we had some people that we were connected to that were doing this business, and we were interested. We found out more. And we basically signed up, and the business has been pretty amazing. Where I am personally the product of the product. Like Charlotte said, I started with a credit score of about 550. I'm about 769 now. Just went to a trip to Vegas, and we did a business transaction, and I was offered to get a credit card, and I was shocked to get a credit card for $10,500. That's never happened to me before in my life. So this thing really works, and we're all about education. We're all about educating our customers, and we're also a nonprofit, and a pretty amazing company.
So when I researched you, I come up with UCES Protection Plan. Is that the company that you work, the primary company?
Exactly. It's a two-pronged company. There's the business arm, which is United Wealth Education, and then the credit repair, which is actually a nonprofit, is United Credit Education Services. Yeah, that's what it is.
So. Okay, so let's talk about both sides. Which one we start out first, United Wealth Education or the credit repair?
Let's talk about credit repair.
Okay, so I can imagine how you get into it. I see. Let me just share with the screen here. Oops, I got a new computer here and having an interesting time trying to figure out how to use all this stuff. So here it is, UCES Protection Plan, and here's Ronan's contact information if you're interested. So tell us a little bit about how it works. All-inclusive financial membership, what does that do? How does that work?
Well, you become a member, and these are the products. I mean, this isn't showing all the products. But we actually have one protection plan. I don't know, Ronan, can you log in? Can you share your screen, Bill, with Ronan so he could log in?
Let me see if I can log in on mine really quickly. 1 second, I wasn't ready for this, but this is pretty amazing that we're doing it this way. 1 second. I'm just going to go to my UCS and I'm going to log in. Protection plan. All right. I'm going to share.
Well, Bill has to let you share, so he's got to close out his. And,
Sure too.
It's telling me to get started with Rocket Lawyer, which is one of our services. And let me go to the Zoom here and share my screen. Okay. Yeah, Bill, if you could let me share.
You know, I'd love to. I just can't find the control.
go down to security at the bottom.
No, you know what? Oh, there's stop share. There we go.
There.
Okay, and sharing all participants. There you go.
All participants. All right, let me share. Wonderful. Okay. Share my screen. Here is my screen. All right. Charlotte, take over. I'll scroll down as you're talking.
Okay, so yeah, it's like these are our services. This is what somebody who signs up with us gets. They get their own website. They get their login information. You can access this either on an app on your phone or on your computer. So it shows the services, like it starts with Rocket Lawyer. So actually we have Rocket Lawyer, we have credit restoration. And what we do with credit restoration is we leverage the Fair Credit Act to dispute any negative, erroneous, unvalidated items on someone's credit score. And so anybody can do that. They have the right to dispute anything. Then we have identity monitoring. So one of our services, and this is all included in the program, identity monitoring, you get $1 million worth of identity protection with Allstate. Then we have credit monitoring so that you can keep track of everything that's going on with your credit score with the bureaus.
Got
You
it.
can move up, Ronan.
I'm sorry?
Can you go up a little bit to the next level here? Down to the other yeah, and so we also have, well, I think we're going to be doing away with the credit attorney because we just started with Rocket Lawyer. So Rocket Lawyer is similar to Legal Shield,
Yes.
right? Are you familiar with it?
Yes.
So you have all these legal documents, you have access to attorneys for consultations.
Sure.
And so that I think is going to replace our credit attorney. And then we also have a will and trust program where you can actually create your own will online. Save yourself $1,000, $2,000, $3,000, $5,000 by going to an attorney. We have a debt payoff tool, which is amazing because it's an algorithm where you can put in your debt, and what you pay every month, what the interest rates are, and it'll generate a payment schedule that accelerates your payments without increasing them so that you're paying down your debt in a much faster time period than if you just did it on your own.
So let's go back to the credit restoration and dive a little deeper there. So if I'm looking to buy a house and I run my credit, I don't qualify, or I know I have some credit problems, what's the first step? I sign up with your program and then I would select among the applications the credit restoration. So what do the first steps look like?
Well, the first steps is you sign up. Obviously, you get this credit, you get this website. We would work with you to activate. Now, once you sign up as a member, you get all of these services. You don't have to pick and choose, you get all of them. We suggest that you activate, and we would help you do this, the credit restoration program, the identity monitoring program, the ID protection, and credit monitoring. So the minute you hit, it's like, it says activate on the credit restoration button. The minute you do that, it goes to our back office, which is in Farmington, Michigan. We've been in business for 17 years. We have incredible customer service. And they pull your credit report. And based on that, and you give them permission to do that, okay, in the activation, and then they generate letters going to all the bureaus, basically disputing whatever items they find, negative items on your credit report, okay? You would download, go ahead.
So it sounds like that when I sign up, I'm going to get a credit report and it's going to identify the negative items, and then it would create some sort of letters. Now, do I print out the letters and mail them? Do they get auto emailed? How does that process work?
Right, good question. Good question. So there's two ways to do it. You can print them and you download, print them. You attach a copy of your social security number and your social security card and proof of address. So it could be a utility bill, your license that has your current address and your name on it. You attach that to each letter and you mail those off to the credit bureaus. You could if you don't have a printer or you don't know how to download, you can opt to have the company just mail them to you, and you would do the same process.
So again, I started my business as my real estate career in the mortgage industry. And
Right.
in the old days, we would run credit for customers, and then we'd find these items. And maybe there you go. And we'd find these items, and then we had templated letters we would do for customers and handed them, we'd sign them and send them in. And I can tell you today, this process takes time to do it individually, because you got to write the letter yourself. You have to type in the account number, and so I imagine you guys have these templated where they're dropping in the name, the address based on the credit report, and the account number, and making the process faster. And my experience is with these companies that if you just do the work and mail it in, eventually, if it's not yours, they give up. If it is yours, they're often ready to work with you to perhaps settle for less than the full amount, or they'll waive some of the ridiculous interest and fees and such. So how involved do you get? If I had a customer looking to buy a house today, are they signing up for this program, or is there a coaching process that they're involved with? How do they get kind of walked through and trained on what to do here?
Well, basically, Ronan or I would meet with them on Zoom, again, via Zoom, right? And we'll actually run their credit report with them. It would be a soft pull, so it doesn't affect their credit score at all, just to see what negative items are on there and to see what we can do. And then we actually have this tool that'll show you what you need to do to get your score up to a certain level. So it actually tells you, pay this bill, or bring your credit limit down, bring your utilization down, because that's what a lot of people are doing. They're going over 30% utilization. So that's an educating process. I had a client, he thought he was building his credit by going to the max and paying the minimum. I was like, no, don't do that. Don't do that. So there's a lot of misinformation out there.
Got it. No doubt. I think.
Right. And so we actually do help people. Like for this gentleman, I said, and he goes, well, I can pay these bills off. And I said, well, then do that.
Credit cards are such a trap. Pre-COVID, I was driving a lot, and I started getting credit cards for each gas company. And the gas companies no longer want to mail you. They want to be on e-billing. The e-billing wasn't done right. So then I would miss a payment. So now I'm paying a late fee, interest at like 2,000% monthly.
Right.
And then if I didn't catch it before they don't mail the next bill saying I'm late, then I would end up with a 30-day late fee. And so I just fight that tooth and nail. But these companies today, they want to cut back on service. And so you have to take advantage of these tools, or at least fight to keep your credit clean. So I imagine that.
And I'm sorry, Bill, if I can interrupt. And to actually, we were trying to educate people to pay attention to what they're signing, to know what interest rate they've got. I just had a woman, she had no idea she was paying 29% interest.
Well, it's under 20% interest. Like I said, for me, I got a Union 76 card. I spend maybe $3 a month on gas to save 5 cents a gallon. It was like 60 gallons or something, or 70 gallons. So I saved, $35, but they charged me a late fee plus interest.
Right.
I have 2 years in the hole, so I just got rid of all the gas cards. It just wasn't really worth it. I get rid of them. I just don't use them anymore.
Don't use them, exactly.
Not worth keeping anymore. But I want to keep the accessible credit, because that adds the positive. So I imagine you work with real estate agents and with maybe mortgage loan officers. Is that a regular part of your business?
It definitely is. It's like working with real estate agents is great, or lenders. We didn't talk about our credit building program as well, because some people need credit fixing, some people need credit building. And for instance, I had a client and she wanted to buy a house. A real estate agent referred her to me, as a matter of fact, and her score was something like 519. I asked her if she rented, and she'd been renting, paying $950 a month in West Virginia. And I said, well, you can get credit for that rent that you've been paying. And so we have a program where she could get credit for up to 2 years of past rental payments.
Wow.
And her score went from 519 to 596 in 2 weeks.
Great jump.
I know, it was a great jump. And then she signed up for the credit service. And in another 30 days, her score went up to 635.
Not worth the money. Never can sell her house. She can buy a
right?
house.
So all of
Yeah.
a sudden now she's eligible and she can buy a house.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
So she won, the real estate agent won, and we won. Everybody's happy.
You guys ever do any kind of consumer facing, meaning do any kind of workshops for borrowers or prospective home buyers or people who need your credit service?
We want to do that, actually. We want to do that. We want to start doing seminars and about credit and so forth. And as we're speaking, I actually got a letter back from one of the bureaus because I sent in, I'm the product of the product, and I sent in my letters to the bureaus. I'm fighting one credit card. I'm fighting a Barclays card, which I paid off and so forth. It was a 29.9% interest rate. And I'm finding out more and more doing this business that people really have no idea about loans and interest rates and borrowing and they just have no idea. They go buy a car with bad credit and they'll sell them a car for, 20 and 30%. And, they'll pay for the car for, you know, 10 years for a $20,000 car.
Exactly.
But the next step in the process is you get the letters back, from the bureaus, and you scan them in basically, and you send them back to our company. Our company looks over the letters from the bureaus, and they prepare the next set of letters.
Nice. Nice. Well, I'd love to talk to you about doing something consumer facing because we have a lot of prospective home buyers. And in number one, people who can't buy because of credit, or number two, people who are buying, but if they improve their credit score, that's a way for them to get a better mortgage rate, perhaps save some money on the
Exactly.
purchase that will make them more sellable, more positive when they make an offer on a property. So I know for the last few years, it's been tough for those buyers because there have been so many cash buyers, but this is the time for them to get ready. And the first step for a home buyer is the loan. And for most people is run your credit, make sure you qualify for what you think you will. And if you don't, talk to Ronan and Charlotte about improving your credit so you do qualify. So, well, great. Well, look, I appreciate it. I'll just share with you another quick story. I think I mentioned to you before we started talking that one of my goals is to next 3-5 years move back to Florida. I lived in Boca Raton when I was a young man. I loved it. I'd like to move back. I mean, not anytime real soon, but I'd like to at some point. And so I'm looking for rental property, and I made an offer on a property. I got pre-approved, but I was shocked that the lender came back and said, "Hey, can we take your wife off the loan? Can we do it just in your name?" And I said, "Well, I have a problem with it. My wife might. What's the problem?"
Right.
Turns out there's a medical bill from about 7 years ago, and it was in her name only because she had gone to the doctors or whatever. And it was really a bogus bill. It was a case where they didn't provide the information to the insurance that we were supposed to, and never did. And as a result, turned it to collections. And we'd responded 7 years ago, and I had wrote my own documents, kept them, and had a record of it. So I was able to dispute it and send it. But what I'd say is most people aren't that organized, and most people don't keep those records 7 years later. And I imagine your service makes it easier to generate those letters as well as to keep them. And as a result, we got the item removed, and my wife is able to be on title, and I can avoid both divorce, which is bad,
Exactly.
and my wife being mad at me for one night, which is worse. So all that said, this prevention and preparation is really important. And so I really appreciate getting some time with you guys today. If somebody wanted to get a hold of you, I see the contact info. Is that the best place to reach you? protectionplan@ronandavid.com. Is that the best email for you?
That's a good one, but the phone numbers would be the best. 212-518-3929, 212-518-3929, and 310-773-1716, 310-773-1716. I mean, we would love, 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 love to help you. And like Charlotte said, we're also a nonprofit, and we give out $1 million worth of scholarships a year.
Wow.
If you are in, a freshman in college or a high school senior, and you're in need of some money, we help a lot of people.
Exciting. Well, look, I appreciate that. And we'll have the information in the show note for the phone numbers to reach out to you. I really appreciate you guys being with us today and sharing credit repair, preparation. If you want to buy your first house or get a better rate on the first loan you get when you buy a house, preparation is critical. And I know credit repair is legitimate, and you guys have the proper steps. So I can look forward to working with you going forward. And thank you guys so much for being on the call today.
Thank you so much, Bill, and good luck with Boca. I love that.
We'll see you. Thank you.